Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Joy, and today I want to talk to you about the top 5 things that I always look for whenever I go thrifting. As you probably know, I love to go thrifting. I usually go every Thursday for half price day at my local thrift store. And so many people ask me, what are your secrets for when you go to the thrift store? And while I don't have secrets, I do have specific things that I look for every single time that I go. And so today I wanted to take a second and share those with you so that whenever you head out to a local Goodwill or even maybe a garage sale or Facebook Marketplace, you'll have an idea of what to keep an eye out for, of really useful things that you can use in decor or around your house. So let's get into it. So while I feel that thrifting doesn't need too much of an introduction because everybody is pretty familiar with it and it's pretty popular these days on TikTok and YouTube, I feel like thrifting is great for when you want to really fill out a space with things that are, one, unique. They're not cookie cutter, they're not what everybody else has. They have a whole personality and a whole life to them. 2, you might find them at such a steal of a deal, which I think is great as well, because you want to keep working on different projects or different rooms, and you don't want to necessarily be spending an arm and a leg. Sometimes you do want to pay up to get a certain quality or to really get something that you've had your eye on for a while. But for me, with design and decorating being something that I like to do all the time, I don't want to put tons and tons of money into it. I would rather go on the hunt, find something unique, and bring it back at a great deal. So it's a win-win for me there. Also, a lot of times whenever you're thrifting, you are supporting a good cause. A lot of times the proceeds go toward helping different communities or helping battered women, or the list goes on. But you can typically find a resale shop that will benefit a good charity as well. And then the last thing is it's not putting a lot of demand on the supply chain, and so a lot of times the stuff that we like so much actually comes from overseas, and the working conditions for those people or what they're being paid or how they're being treated to work in those production facilities is just really not good. And while I'm not going to make a whole issue out of this, I will say, like, if you're typically going and buying decor and it's pretty reasonably priced, it's like known for being cheap or affordable, the chances are pretty high that the people who are actually responsible for making that product don't have the best life, and they might be overworked, severely underpaid, or mistreated in some ways. And so this is a good way to just use the things that are already in cycle and not put a lot of demand on the supply chain. Having said that, here are some things that I really like to look for when I go to a thrift store. We'll start with number 1, unique furniture pieces. Whenever I need something for a particular space or particular room, whether it be for organization or for decor, I will know the kind of the dimensions and the use that I need out of that item, and then it's just in the back of my mind whenever I go thrifting. So I don't necessarily go to a thrift store to find a particular item, but I'll know, hey, in the next month or 2, I need something to fit this purpose. And then in the amount of trips that I take in that span of time, I typically find something. 1, because I know what I'm looking for, and 2, because I give myself enough buffer time in order to find something like that. So in the instance where I needed some entry tables, I knew, hey, I need an entry table at some point. I was looking at actual stores, and I was looking whenever I went to a thrift store. So then when the thrift store had one for 20 bucks, I snagged it. Another time, I was looking for some organization in my laundry room, and that one I got to be creative with because I found a vertical shelf that I was able to turn on its side and stack with another one, and then I had some horizontal shelves, which is what I was needing. So you can be creative with it, but as long as you have something in your mind's eye of where it needs to go, you'll know, is it something that I need to take advantage of, or is it something that is good but not for me? The thing about thrifting is you have to know when to walk away. So I find that having a specific use or purpose for it determines whether or not you actually need it. Second thing, kitchen items. I am always on the lookout for unique kitchen items. And when I say that, I'm not necessarily just thinking about, like, I don't know, utensils or baking stuff, although sometimes I do go for that. Here is what I'm talking about. Number 1, a really really unique coffee cup. Most of the time I don't get one because they're just cheaply made, you know, little coffee mugs. But every once in a while you'll find something that is just full of personality and you can't believe that somebody passed it on, and you get to bring it home with you and wash it really well and make it a part of your life. Another thing I like to look for is vintage dishes, whether it's vintage serving dishes, so like casserole dishes or something that looks just really cool and put together. I personally love like 1930s Depression glass. So it's like the bubbled little glass that you see. It's actually really in trend right now, but I love keeping an eye out for that kind of stuff or other older vintage colored glass items. I really like those. And then even when it comes to like those old school kind of soup bowls, I like to snag those whenever I see them to have them on hand. I also look for things that I can use as decor in my kitchen. So I've snagged a copper teapot or some other little copper pots. You might be able to find some cute old school ladles that you can use as decoration. I always keep an eye out for things like that. And then lastly, I do look for glass baking dishes because they're always, they come in handy. I make a lot of banana breads and stuff like that, so it's really nice to have some extra glass baking ware on hand to be able to use whenever I need it. Number 3, I feel like you can find these at any thrift store that you go to. It's baskets. I have found so many baskets over the years. As you know, we do have a basket wall in our home, so I have a whole decorative display of the more shallow baskets, but I also use baskets for so many different things. So if I find a really big honkin' basket, I might use it as a pot for a tree, you know, inside of the house, or I might use it as a hamper, or I might use it for organization, or I might save them and use them for gift baskets. You can find so many different uses for baskets, and they just seem to abound in thrift stores. So I would say keep an eye out for good baskets whenever you go. The next thing, you might disqualify yourself right away thinking this is not really my interest, but I want you to listen anyway. It is books and/or vinyl records. Now, hear me out. You might not be a reader. I wouldn't consider myself an avid reader, but I do know every once in a while when I find a really great book to read, whether it's a vintage collection or something from my childhood or just something that I know my husband is gonna like, I always take a look at the books. They're usually really cheaply priced. Sometimes they're 50 cents up to $3. At the local thrift shop that I go to, they're actually 12 for $1, which is insane, but we stock up on a lot of books that way. Now, if you're not a reader at all and you would just say, yeah, I could care less if I found a collection of some novel, I would say still look at the book section as well if you want to decorate with books. You can see behind me, even on the mantle, I have stacks of older or vintage books. A lot of times you can find really beautifully designed covers. They might be really old and tattered and have that really cool look. You can stack them. You might just find a really cool looking hardback book, maybe in a color scheme that you like, or you might check out the cookbook, find one that's really cute or really vintage, and place it somewhere in the kitchen to add a little bit of charm. We've done this several times, and I love the character and just the look that books bring into a space. So I love doing that. And then the next one is vinyl records. Now, if you're like me and you have a record player, that speaks for itself. You're gonna be on the hunt for cheap vinyl records. If you're buying them, you know, on Amazon or eBay, you might be paying like a good, decent chunk for each vinyl record. But if you find them at the thrift store, chances are nobody wants them, nobody's cared about them, and somebody donated a huge stack. And so if you go through them, you can find all these show tunes and movie scores and really cool records that are actually in demand, and you can find them at thrift stores for like really decent prices. But sometimes I have also used them just as decor. Like before I had a record player, I would snag the old vintage like Andy Williams Christmas album, and I would like prop it up during Christmas time because it's such an iconic cover. Maybe you'll find like the Bing Crosby White Christmas or something. And if you find a really iconic one, some people hang them on the wall, some people just stack them, you know, maybe on a table or something, but it could come in handy as some decor items as well. The last one that I'll talk about for now is art and decor pieces. I think this goes without saying because kind of the whole video is about different things that you can use for decor. But I like to look for little knickknacks, whether it's candlesticks. I get candlesticks all the time as long as they're brass. They all seem to go up together. I had it in my mind one year to start collecting them for Thanksgiving so that I could have just like a huge variety of like different heights and stuff to go on our Thanksgiving table. And then I just kind of never stopped collecting them because I like how they look, whether it's like up here on the mantle or in the bathroom or on a dining room table or whatever. I just like adding little candlesticks to every space. And a lot of times it'll come in handy if you're gonna throw a party or something and you wanna give it that extra zing. Maybe you're planning for a friend's wedding that's coming up, or maybe your own, you wanna gather a bunch of candlesticks. I feel like you never go wrong with collecting candlesticks. So that's one of the things that I look for. I also look for little knickknacks, decor pieces. Maybe they're ceramics, or maybe it's a really good glassware or glass vase. I just always check out the ceramics and the glass whenever I go into a store, as well as the art prints. Now, at minimum, I think that you can find a good frame whenever you go into a Goodwill or a thrift shop, because you can just kind of look past the ugly artwork and see the potential in the frame. And typically they're really cheaply priced, and you can get all of the frames that you need for the different artwork that you already have at home. I would say if you are collecting frames, don't worry about them not matching, because you can always paint them all to match the specific look that you're going for. And once they're all the same color, they do have that cohesive look. I will show you a picture of one that I did in our guest bedroom where they're all vastly different types of frames, and I painted and finished them all to have the exact same look, and together, they actually go together really nicely. So at minimum, I think you can find a frame, and at best, you can find some really cool artwork to go with it as well. I just found a pair of framed prints recently that were so cute, and I was thrilled to be able to find them already ready to go in cool frames at the thrift store for like, I think $8 total. So I was really happy about that. All right, that was just a short video explaining some of the main things that I look for whenever I go to the thrift store, but I hope it helped you. And whenever you head out to a local thrift shop, consignment shop, garage sale, Facebook Marketplace, that you'll have an idea of what to look for and what could be a really great deal and something that would be useful around your home. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and make sure that you're subscribed to my channel so that you don't miss a video. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
What a wonderful world. What a wonderful world.